According to Carl Jung, to become the person who you want to be is about your willingness to delve deeper into one's psyche. But what if the key to unlocking your true potential is buried in parts of yourself that you hardly ever notice? A great shift in our psychological attitudes is on the horizon. Why? Because we often don't understand our own minds well enough. The real danger that we face often comes from inside us, from our own lack of self-awareness. See, this can lead to problems both in our own lives and in the entirety of the world around us too. Think about it. Have you ever felt like something inside you was stopping you from reaching your goals? What if there's a whole hidden side to your personality that's quietly influencing your actions? And I'm not talking like the little angel and devil on your shoulder telling you what to do in a situation. See, this is what Jung calls the shadow. It's the part of your unconscious mind that holds all the aspects of ourselves that we reject or ignore. Things like our hidden desires, our instincts, weaknesses, and traits that we think are bad because of what society's taught us. See, all these hidden parts really affect how we feel and how we act, often without us even noticing that it's happening. Just think about how somebody can raise a kid and never allow that kid to feel or express anger, right? So in this case, the child can learn that anger doesn't exist and should never be expressed. In this manner, over time, this unexpressed, unrecognized feeling defines how they would act or respond without their knowledge. Think about it. Maybe they get super angry and aggressive and agitated over every little thing. We all know people like that, where every molehill has to be a mountain, right? Or it can also take the form of the opposite, where they can never defend themselves at all since they have no idea how to deal with those emotions, and it just becomes aspects of their personality. Here's the thing, everybody has a shadow. The more we ignore it, the darker it gets. Recognizing our patterns and mistakes is the first step toward change. See, if we're aware of a flaw, then we can work on fixing it, right? But if this shadow, if it stays hidden, then it might suddenly take control, creating obstacles that just get in the way of our intentions. It's like this other side of ourselves, it's like it's screaming and saying, I'm alive, I'm here, notice me. So let's talk about some of the different types of shadows, starting with the personal shadow. These were often looked into through dreams or methods that Jung used to delve into the human psyche. Dreams can often bring hidden parts of ourselves to the surface. For example, if somebody dreams of being chased, then Jung might suggest that they're running from something in their real life, perhaps an aspect of themselves that they would rather not face. By paying attention to these dream symbols, we can gain insights into what our shadow is trying to tell us. And next is everybody's favorite friend, the ego, which represents our conscious self, what we know about ourselves. But sometimes others see things about us that we're unaware of, showing how complex and layered our personalities can actually be. The ego is our conscious identity, while the self includes both conscious and unconscious aspects. See, Jung described how, as a young man, he was aware of his capacity for aggression. By understanding this side of himself, he could avoid situations that might provoke it, a way of dealing with his own shadow. The shadow is actually only one of the compartments of the soul, according to the model of Carl Jung. Another is the persona, the mask that we present to the rest of the world. See, this mask is shaped by what society expects from us and what we want other people to see. It's also really important to recognize that the persona is not our true self, in the same way that a masquerade outfit does not reflect us as people. See, his philosophy is ultimately about finding balance, right? Between the persona and between the shadow, between our conscious and our unconscious minds, and between who we think we are and who we could become. And here's the thing, it's a lifelong journey. It's one that requires a lot of courage, a ton of honesty, and a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths within every single one of us. But man, oh man, is it also incredibly liberating when you do it. There's also another aspect that's part of our personality, and that's anima and animus. See, the anima is a concept referring to the female archetype and male personalities, and is a mediator between a man and women. The animus describes the male component in women and determines how the women interact with their male counterparts. Understanding these elements helps us see how our unconscious mind actually affects all of our experiences. Recognizing the shadow is only the first step, right? The real work is actually in integrating it into our conscious lives. This process can be really difficult, but it's highly rewarding. By embracing the shadow, we can unlock strengths and qualities that were buried or that we never even knew we had. Integration involves acknowledging these hidden aspects without letting them control us. It's about facing repressed emotions and desires in a constructive way. For example, anger can be a really powerful motivator if channeled properly. So can spite. Any of you that have ex-wives or husbands or ex-spouses, you know what I'm talking about. But here's the thing. By ignoring the shadow, that makes us behave in ways that come as a surprise to ourselves. I mean, think about it. Have you ever lashed out at somebody without knowing why? That might be your shadow coming to the surface. It really helps us to know when the buck stops with us and enables us to accept the blame so that we can grow from the situation. There's a lot of various practices that can help with integration. Therapy offers a safe space to explore these hidden parts of ourselves. It's also especially useful to come up with a journal because a method like that can easily reveal certain patterns or push certain thoughts to the conscious level. It's also possible to express our shadow through art or music and gain new insights about ourselves there too. And as we go on the journey, always bear in mind that self-discovery of your shadow is a universal challenge in the lives of all people. In exposing ourselves to other people, we can be reassured that we're not alone in fighting our personal battles and having the same fears in life. In fact, most of the people in your inner circle probably deal with the exact same shadows that you do. You know, another element of accepting the shadow is understanding that one should be kind towards oneself. A lot of the time, we're our own worst enemies and our harshest critics, and we're always focused on being mean and self-destructive as opposing to be reflective and healing. A lot of studies actually suggest that asking for forgiveness helps because it provides a pathway toward genuine self-compassion. You know, the ability to recognize that, hey, life is hard sometimes and we all make mistakes. And you know, it's also okay to sit down and apologize to yourself and ask for forgiveness. But here's something that's really important to keep in mind. Integrating the shadow doesn't make us perfect. We're all constantly works in progress, and accepting our imperfections can lead to a more genuinely satisfying life. When the personal shadow relates to individual experiences, the collective shadow refers to the darker aspects of society. Just as individuals repress traits, so do societies, which can often lead to issues like prejudice and social injustice. Societal norms might label vulnerability as weakness, leading people to suppress emotions and creating a toxic environment. Stop me if you've heard this one. Women belong at home having babies and taking care of the home. Men don't cry. You have to be the breadwinner, the person who brings home the bacon, right? These are cultural and societal norms. Oh, you're the daughter in this family structure, so you're not important, the son is. Oh, you're a son in this family structure, you're not important, the daughter is. And here's the thing, as we're constantly trying to understand ourselves better, one thing is super clear. Humanity's greatest threat might just be our own unexamined nature. The journey into our shadow is both a challenge and an enlightening experience. Facing our inner selves takes a lot of courage, but it can also be super life-changing. And by embracing all parts of our personality, we can move closer to a more complete, authentic self that can help us better navigate the entirety of the world. Engaging in this exploration means acknowledging both our personal and our collective shadows. Because here's the thing, true enlightenment, that comes not from avoiding the dark, but from bravely confronting it every single time.